All right, traders, welcome back to another video. Just got back from the gym and decided to hit the record button. Usually I try to plan these videos ahead of time, but I'm going to try to just wing it this time and see how it goes. So as always, make sure to smash that like button. We have another emergency Dogecoin video, although I'm not putting emergency in the videos and in the video titles anymore, just because I thought that was getting a little annoying because not every single update is an emergency update. But as always, if you want to see more content just like this and more crypto content, and yes, we will go to other things other than crypto, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And if you want to check out the links in the description down below, like 2 free stocks with Webull. If you deposit $100, you can get 2 free stocks up to, I think, $1,000. I have to double check that. And join our free Discord where you can chat with people just like yourself. Make sure to check out the links in the description down below. All right, so let's get into the analysis. And if you noticed, I changed my background. I accidentally had a different color scheme. I had a different color scheme there. Let me know if you like that other color scheme more. That color scheme is inspired by one of the people that I learned from. And he is on the internet, but he hasn't posted in a while. He likes his privacy, so I'm not going to say his name. But you can figure it out if you really know what background that is. It's pretty unique. So let's get into the analysis. We have Dogecoin here, and finally, we have some good news on Dogecoin. Also, if you're wondering what the heck happened to my chin, because I did see some comments talking about that, this was a wound. I got wounded, and these are Band-Aid burns. I was allergic to the Band-Aid, and I've had this for about a week now, and it just won't go away. It's pretty interesting. A lot worse than I thought it would be. Somehow I ended up burning myself with a Band-Aid. All right, so Dogecoin, we got good news. If you're wondering why I have a lot of energy, again, I just got back from the gym. All right, so we have some good news on Dogecoin, right? So the last time we spoke about Dogecoin, we were talking about basically 2 scenarios. One, an outright collapse down. Okay, TradingView is glitching. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we were talking about an outright collapse down to around 19 cents. The reason why that was a possibility is because we were breaking down out of this little consolidation pattern right in here. And actually, I'm going to keep this trend line back on there. Not sure why I took it off. Okay, we were looking at the breakdown of that trend line right in there, right? And we were closing below that trend line. And historically speaking, when Dogecoin starts breaking up or breaking down, tends to follow through and pretty quickly. So we thought that maybe we would get a quick move down to 19 cents. But what we also said is that it all depended on what we would do in this little zone right in here. And you can see that zone actually held up to the T. So yeah, these zones are not just random. They are created by supply and demand theory, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter what you call it. Basically, we knew that buyers were coming in here around 28 cents, and that had to hold for us to have a bullish sentiment on Dogecoin in the future. And I basically said that the next few candles would tell us a lot more. Okay, and I made that video when we were back here. Okay, and you can see the next few candles were bullish, right? So that zone ended up holding pretty well, and now you bring it to today right now, and you can see we are now trading above, and this is big, we are now trading above 31 cents, and that is above the historical bounce zone. So when we go on a daily time frame, okay, we'll see that we are in that historical bounce zone. This is the recalculated historical bounce zone because I think we may have been wrong on the first zone calculation, which is still fine because if you remember the old zone calculation, this is still technically inside of it. So were we wrong? Maybe not, but this is definitely a more accurate representation of what usually happens to Dogecoin. Okay, go on a logarithmic chart and you'll see that we have pumps, dumps, pumps, pumps, dumps, pumps, dumps, pumps, dumps, pumps, dumps. Okay, and so now the question is, will we get a second pump? Okay, and we've been saying that we probably should in the future. How long is it going to take? We never really know. Okay, I mean, you go back to right around February and April, you know, it took months for Dogecoin to get out of this consolidation right in here. Okay, and then we had a nice move higher. Okay, but you know, that can happen again. That massive consolidation can happen again. We have no idea how long we're going to stay in this historical bounce zone. But what we can do to kind of get a gauge for it is do what we're already doing, which is looking at the smaller time frames, like the 4-hour time frame. And now we'll get to the good news. Okay, oops, we'll get to the good news, right? Okay, obviously, actually, I kind of already said it. The good news is that we held this zone. I kind of want to get rid of this line. It's kind of bothering me. Okay, we held that zone, which means this was a demand zone, so people were buying in here, which we obviously know that now because that's hindsight. But now, this tells us that people are willing to buy. And if people are willing to buy Dogecoin in the historical bounce zone, that's pretty much all the information that we want to know, because the main thing that we want to see, obviously, in the historical bounce zone is people buying. Because if we don't see that, then that is not good. And now what we also are seeing is a retest, a strong retest of this trend line right in here. So what we want to see from this point on, and it looks pretty promising, is a break of this trend line. We want to get out of this downtrend of lower lows, okay, and we want to see higher highs, okay, or not lower lows, sorry, lower highs. We want to get out of this downtrend of lower highs, right, and we want to see higher highs, okay. So going forward, we have, again, a couple scenarios, okay, as of right now. One is we break that trend line, okay? Break that trend line. It's not unusual for it to retest. So maybe we can see a break of this trend line and then a retest of the historical bounce zone, the top of the historical bounce zone, which if you want to get that number, that is 31 cents, and then a continuation higher from there, okay? And if we get a continuation higher from the historical bounce zone, that is really good news, because we know, historically speaking, that whenever we start moving higher from the historical bounce zone, we tend to go into that next bullish phase higher, okay? Now, the second scenario, again, and a lot of you guys comment, not a lot of you, some of you guys comment like, oh, well, you're just saying it's either going to go up or down. And yeah, that's the point, okay? There's always two scenarios. It's either going to move up or down, but it's how we react to it moving up or down that makes us money, right? So, yeah, I'm always going to give you there's multiple scenarios sometimes, but I'm always going to give you the scenarios, the two possible scenarios, maybe three, maybe four, whatever. You get the point, okay? Because that's how you trade, okay? If we just said there's only one scenario possible and that's the one that we're going to stick with, then we would be stubborn and lose a lot, okay? So the second scenario in this case is that this trend line ends up holding, which it doesn't look like it's going to hold. It looks like we're pretty much already breaking it, but if it does hold, and they would have to do it pretty much right now, if that trend line holds, then another move lower is pretty probable, okay? If we see a massive red candle come out in the next 4-8 hours here, that would not be good, because that would signal very early selling, right? I mean, we've barely even made any moves higher, and early selling means strong selling, right? If people are selling earlier than expected, that means there's a lot of sellers and there's a lot of fear, and so naturally that leads to lower prices. Okay, so that is, I think, the less likely scenario. I think the more likely scenario is we're going to break this trend line and try to make a move higher. Do I know for a fact it's going to go higher? No. Again, we still have the possibility of a very long consolidation that we've seen in the past, right? Consolidation, possible consolidation. Okay, but nonetheless, it's still good news that we are testing this trend line and looks like we're going to break through it. Okay, so what is our target? Okay, so you guys know on the daily time frame, our target is quite up there. If we take a ABCD pattern from the current swing high that we're using, which is a low of 4 cents and a high of 73 cents, okay, we take that, we copy and paste it and project it forward. Here, I'm going to go on a linear scale for you guys. Okay, we project that forward. That gives us a target of around $1.16. Okay, that is pretty much best case scenario. The more realistic scenario, which you guys know of, is basically we're going to take a Fibonacci extension from, again, the same low and high points. And usually we like using this 127 extension number as the first target for a new high, right? If we break through highs, this is usually where we head to, and that number is around 92 cents. And again, basically it all comes back to Dogecoin going to about $1. Okay, so we can just get rid of this, we can get rid of that, and now we have our target. Again, it's just going to be $1, just because if it goes to 93 cents, it's probably going to go to $1, right? I mean, there's going to be a lot of momentum at that point if it does happen. Okay, now I'm not saying we're going to go straight to $1. It may be a while before we get there, and we may not get there at all because, again, Dogecoin relies on a lot of hype, and we definitely do not have the same hype that we used to on Dogecoin. Oh, wait, what is this? Did I draw the trend line wrong? Oh, okay. I drew the trend line on a logarithmic scale, which changes things, but you're supposed to definitely draw trend lines on a linear scale. That's usually the best way to do it, at least in my experience. Okay, so that is the correct trend line right there on a linear scale, and you can see we've already sort of broken through that trend line, but that is very minimal. That is a very minimal break of the trend line, right? We've closed above that trend line, but it's too early to tell. Okay, so what we want to see in the next 4 to 8 hours is, sorry about hitting the mic, is a lot more higher, right? Not a lot more, but we definitely want to clear 32 cents. Okay, so we want to clear 32 cents in the next 4 to 8 hours. We can close above that, then that would be an official break of this trend line consolidation pattern, and hopefully that brings in some momentum to the upside. Again, daily time frame, our target is all the way up at $1. On the 4-hour time frame, if you want to get some sort of target, what we can do is just go from this point right here, that low to that high, and copy and paste that forward, paste it at the most recent low after this low, which is this low, and that's kind of like a little ABCD pattern to the upside there, and that would give us a short-term target of around 47 cents, or from current price, about 50% higher, okay? And while that sounds crazy, it's Dogecoin. Anything can happen, right? So short-term target, 47 cents, long-term target, $1. Currently, right? That can always change depending on what's going on. So that is it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And if you want to check out the links in the description down below, like 2 free stocks with Webull, and join our free Discord, make sure to go ahead and do that. Links in the description as always. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.